Okay, so we are ready to go in what I like the most in Lightroom, and that is the local tools. I think that is the difference between using, any editing software like iPhoto or, some basic editing software and using Lightroom. Lightroom has amazing local adjustment, and for me, it's what makes or break the photo. We're gonna start with a very simple example, and you will see me again, on different projects using these tools over and over. The first one is a gradient tool. So basically, what it does here, we have all the settings we've already covered. You already know what that is. The white balance here. We have basic exposures here. We have the texture, the clarities, the dehaze. Everything we've covered is here. But they can be applied locally and on the gradient. So right now, let's say you've got a whole bunch of weird settings. You can double click on effect and everything is going to come down to 0. So the first one I'm going to do is I'm just going to lower the exposure just so you can see. Then I'm going to click and drag and make a gradient. Now it looks kind of awful now because I did it too much, but it's just to show you. So that value here of minus 0.1.26 from the top of the photo to the first line is being applied at a full strength. And from that first line all the way to that third line, it's been applied on a gradient. So I can make my gradient small, I can make it big. I can move it up so that it only applies a little bit of it or the full length of it. So it's just such a cool thing. And not only you can do okay, I want to make the sky a little darker, but I can say, I want to make the sky more blue. So you can add blue at the same time. That looks really fake. Or I can take the blue out by adding some yellow, which is the opposite, for example. I don't want to have a fake blue. So you got to be really careful. Now, there's one thing I want to say. It's really important when you retouch your photo to make them as colorful as you can, but try to stay within human experience. Try to stay in a kind of a blue that you could experience in real life. So, if I go like this, it's a blue, but it's not true. I mean, I've seen blues like this, but okay, let's say like this, blue like this with like this is just too much, And also people are not used to, here's the problem. When you see a scene as saturated as planet Earth can give you, like one of these crazy sunset, it's very colorful sometimes, very colorful, and but it's hard to capture. So when somebody captures it for real and everything is well exposed, so it's not just the sky that is really well exposed and then everything else is black. People are not used to that kind of photography yet because cameras don't have the same range that they are. Often what you have is a gray sky and then the CD is completely black. But with Lightroom adjustments, you can sort of get close to what human experience is, but just be careful that your colors look, as you experience them. So maybe that's a little too blue to me. So you know what? I'm not going to add blue. I'm just going to lower a little bit the exposure here. Now here it's kind of messy. I don't really like what's going on there. So I'm going to click and drag, and using the same value that we just imported here, maybe I just want to kill that, put less attention on here. Check it out. Before the gradients, after the gradients, there was like a guy there, and I don't want to go in Photoshop and erase him. And I want people to look inside, so maybe I'll make a third gradient and just make this slightly darker there. So from sort of an unconscious level, the person is going to look at what's bright, and what's bright is what's inside of the photo. And gradients, I use them really for the sky most of the time to do like I just did here, which is like tailor-made vignette. And you can do so much more. I could add contrast at the same time. I could do so many different things, and you'll see me using that tool a lot. I could add more saturation if I wanted to, or text saturation I wanted to, and all of that is being applied on a gradient, which is nuts. It's actually a good idea to take out some saturation. I just wanted to make this a little bit darker so that people could look inside of the photo, but still being able to not have too much saturation there. So that's a good introduction to the gradient tool. There's a lot more to go over, but we'll see on different cases. So let me show you again before my gradients, after the gradients. Made this darker, made this darker, made this darker. And I did not add saturation by doing it.